Well, the U.S. House of Representatives received a classified briefing on Iran today. It comes as President Trump continues to project confidence in the success of last weekend's strikes on Iran, despite conflicting reports. Michael Yoshida has details as U.S. lawmakers offer differing views.
U.S. lawmakers offering differing views following a classified briefing on Iran.
They have not actually settled on a definition in what they claim the results of the strike were.
Their key facilities have been disabled, and I think Iran is now a long time away from doing what they might have done.
Friday's reactions from members of the House of Representatives echoing comments made a day earlier by senators, with Republicans and Democrats at odds over how to describe the success of last weekend's strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities.
I believe that this mission was a tremendous success and that we have effectively destroyed Iran's nuclear program.
Certainly there was serious and perhaps severe damage done. As to how much damage was done, we really need a final assessment.
Debate has raged this week in Washington over the known extent of the damage done to Iran's nuclear program. Focus has been on the president and administration's use of words like obliterated, even as an early U.S. intel assessment that was described by 7 people briefed on it, and which could change as more intelligence becomes available, has suggested strikes may have only set the program back by months. Iran's foreign minister has described the damage as extensive and serious, but experts say it will take time to get a full, clear picture.
Sometimes it can take days, sometimes it can take weeks. In this case, it might take even more because you'll be collecting a lot of information, particularly inside Iran.
In Washington, Michael Yoshida reporting.
Meanwhile, Israel's consul general to the Midwest tells us the damage Iran inflicted during this month's war shows what it could do with a nuclear weapon. Yanam Cohen met with Indiana political leaders and members of Indiana's Jewish community this week. He also sat down with me for this week's episode of All Indiana Politics.
You know, they have been enriching uranium for many years now. We know that. But what happened over the past months is that we got growing indications to the fact that there might be on the verge of actually weaponizing their enriched uranium. In other words, building their first nuclear bomb. And this is a huge threat not only to Israel, by the way, but to the whole Middle East, and I would say globally. And the second part of that is their ambitions to build up their ballistic missile arsenal. You know, right now we saw the damage of them, launching missiles towards Israel, significant damage. Imagine what could have happened if they had 10 or 20 times more missiles than they have now. That was their ambition. And by the way, they were working on developing also intercontinental missiles, meaning missiles capable of hitting not only Israel and the Middle East, but also Europe and the United States. This is a huge global danger.
Reading the tea leaves here, you believe that this was a success?
The American operation in Israel, absolutely, because, I would say that we had 3 major accomplishments. The first one is the fact that Israel could operate pretty much freely in Iranian airspace. The second one is that we were able to target both their nuclear and missile sites on Iranian ground. And the third one is that we were able to intercept the vast majority of the missiles that they have launched towards Israel. And we did it not only by, the technology, the very advanced technology, the missile defense systems that we have, but also thanks to the global partnership that we've had with the United States, but also with some of our Arab neighbors. And then came President Trump and said, hey, you did a great job, but I want to make sure that they're never able to go back to what they aspired before, that they're never able to build their nuclear bomb. And then came the American operation, which was a huge success. And I really hope that that would be a turning point in the Middle East.
Is Israel committed to the ceasefire?
We are 100% committed to the ceasefire, and I would say more than that. Our hope now is that following the, I would say, great success of neutralizing the threat from Iran, and this is exactly what President Trump is trying to do now, is to leverage this success to enhance peace in the Middle East. So what we're talking about is potentially a deal that would bring about an end to the ongoing war in Gaza that has caused so much suffering, both to Israelis and Palestinians. We want to see an end to the Hamas terrorist regime in Gaza. We want to see the release of the hostages. This is what's being discussed right now. And at the same time, we also want to see some enhancement of the Abraham Accords. These are the peace agreements that President Trump brought 4 years ago And our hope now is that more Arab countries in the Middle East will join the circle of peace with Israel.
Well, you can see much more of my entire interview with Cohen this Sunday at All Indiana Politics. It airs 9:30 in the morning right here on Wish TV.